Oh, hello. In today's video, we're going to ask the question, where are the Imperial Space Marines in Kill Team? So, Space Marines are icons of Games Workshop. I've included a very old photograph of myself here and a slightly more modern one. These are both taken at Games Workshop's headquarters in Nottingham. The one on the left, it's from the 90s at some point. I have it in hard copy. That's me on the left there with guy who's at my time one of my best friends. So we're kind of grown apart a little bit now. He's moved to Australia, but yeah, outside Games Workshop's headquarters in Nottingham, where they used to have this giant Space Marine statue. He's been moved around the back now. There's a Stormcast there, but it's just I'm trying to illustrate the point, I guess, if anyone was unaware how front and center Space Marines usually are. Okay, and then I've got a photograph of myself, my family, there on the right hand side again. In front of the giant Space Marine statue in his new position around the back of Games Workshop headquarters. It's strange to me that we're now looking at our third Kill Team big box release with Eldar in, and it's been heavily rumoured against the Eldar there's going to be chaos, and so we're now most of the way through the first year of Kill Team with no bespoke release for the Space Marines. And the Compendium Marines are popularly regarded as one of the worst factions that you can play at when you get to any kind of semi-competitive level. And that is just odd. And at first it was refreshing, because I think a lot of people who've been in this hobby for a long time are, they have a favourite army that isn't Marines, and they're quite refreshed. It was refreshing to see a starter set without Space Marines in. And then we saw a second set without Space Marines in again, and I thought, great, but surely they're going to do them for the third set, because at least the first and the second set had Imperials in. They'd done the Mechanicus in White Dwarf, so I thought obviously Space Marines are going to be in the third set, because they're not going to. And now it looks like they're going to do a set with no Imperials in it at all, and that. I'm not saying it's awful, because I'm not one of these people that loves Space Marines. I have a Space Marine army. I think everybody who's been in the hobby for a certain length of time ends up with a Space Marine army, because you want to pick things up because they're a good deal. I mean, I've got a Space Marine army that's basically comprised of Dark Imperium and Shadow Spear and the Indomitus, right? So they're all value purchases, plus some of the new Black Templar stuff, but people end up with Space Marines because they're so deeply discounted and so frequently available. But yeah, it was bizarre. It really is bizarre that in Kill Team they're not front and center. So let's have a little think about the ways in which Space Marines could come to Kill Team in the future. The first one I want to talk about is the idea of Primaris Scouts. I've talked about Primaris Scouts before. I don't want to get too far into the lore. Every time I bring this up, somebody says, whether it's in person or on another Discord, somebody says, oh, but Black Templars have them, but that doesn't mean that all the other chapters have them. In the codexes, if you read the background, it does say that Primaris Scouts exist in all the chapters, distinct from Phobos. Yes, the 10th Company's full of the Phobos guys now, who are fully baked Marines, but Marines still go through a scout phase. So the Primaris Scouts as a squad are something that should exist in Warhammer 40,000, and we've seen with the Black Templars, bolters, the pistol and chainsword option, and the shotguns. If you added in sniper rifles and maybe some heavy weapons, either the heavy bolter and the missile launcher or something new, you very quickly get a Primaris analog of the Scout Squad, and I think that's something that 40k will definitely get. But it's whether that is the Kill Team that we get for Kill Team. It will be a good way of launching a new unit. It would work a lot like the Sisters Novitiates, who are very much Sisters Scouts, who were launched as a Kill Team, but then they slotted in to the Space Marine Codex at the same time. You could almost get the same thing as the Novitiates, where they're led by a sergeant in Phobos armor. I think that would be quite cool. I like the current kind of thing of a lot of teams where you've got mixed. So you've got one guy who's just got a better profile in some way than the others. I think that's awesome. And I think that a Primaris Scout Kill Team gels the best with the teams that we've already seen. All the bespoke teams that we've had so far that are around the 10 model mark with a 4-up save, if that's where they want to keep the game, then I think Primaris Scouts are what they'd go for. However, you know, these are members of the Space Marine faction, but they're not Space Marines. I was having a conversation with someone from my Discord who was saying, do you really not think there's plans to have Space Marines? And I said, oh, Primaris Scouts. And they said, no. Power Armored Space Marines. Space Marines with a 3-up save. That's very important to people who really like Space Marines. They want to play the iconic thing. And I've said this when the novitiates come out. I think the novitiates are really cool, but they're not the iconic Sisters of Battle, you know, from the artwork, from the famous John Blanche, that people who like Sisters of Battle like to play. So you do lose something there, but I kind of feel, I guess I would say this as a novitiates player, as someone that is happy enough to play the kill team version and not kind of get hung up on the fact they're not the iconic miniatures that I can save for 40k. I would quite like Primaris Scouts, but I totally see there's a section of people out there who'd be like, oh, I don't want these. I want Space Marines that look like that cool statue you showed me before. I want those from all the books and art. So let's look at some other options that I've been thinking about. So Primaris Deathwatch. So Deathwatch in 40k exist and kill teams, and the thing I will say is they're called kill teams and the game is called Kill Team, and it's kind of bizarre that the Deathwatch kill team is not front and center in the game Kill Team. I mean, that's they certainly were, right? Not actually in Kill Team 18, but in the version of Kill Team that almost nobody remembers that came out before that was in the kind of black and red looking book, they were front and center. In 40k, you can have Primaris Deathwatch kill teams. Now, in 40k, you have 3 different flavors of those. You've got the Spectrus kill team, which has basically got all your Phobos type guys, so infiltrators, incursors, reavers, and eliminators. The Indomitor kill team, which is the heavier stuff, so you got the heavy intercessor, aggressors, inceptors, eradicators. And the Fortis kill team, which is the medium stuff, so you got your intercessors, assault intercessors, outriders, and hellblasters. And in 40k at the moment, I'm not a Deathwatch player, so correct me if I've got anything wrong, but I've quickly looked this up. They're all 5-man squads, and you can double up on some things. You don't have to take one of everything. There are certain ratios and limits in 40k, but they all wash out to 5-man squads. Now, I think it would kind of be rubbish if they did a kill team for kill team, a kill team, and they picked one of those kill teams to be the kill team for kill team, right? So it said your kill team is the Spectrus kill team, and so you've got these choices. It would be kind of cool if they merged them all together, right? But it would make it like the ultimate elite team. So you'd almost have to roster. I've written 20 on the slide. You wouldn't necessarily want to roster 20, but you'd be rostering like 15 guys and picking 5 for each mission depending on your opponent. I mean, that's a cool idea, and that ought to be the niche that elite teams sit in. It's just really hard to balance things that way, I guess, because you end up with things that are just mathematically the most efficient. So yes, that's a nice idea in theory, but actually we always take, the maximum number of Hellblasters that we're allowed to take, because the Hellblaster's really good. I assume you'd only allowed to take one Hellblaster, but you'd always take him, right? And you'd never take Assault Intercessors, say, for example. There'd be something like that, right? Or maybe they make it like a thing where, to try and balance that, you've got these ideas of Spectrus, Indomitor, and Fortis, and you can roster them all on your roster for a tournament. And when you rock up to the game, you have to declare, right, I'm playing Indomitor or Spectrus or Fortis in this game, and then I'm pulling my 5 guys and making that kill team. It could be cool, and you could even go really deep with it, and you could have, okay, and my Hellblaster guy, he's going to be a Dark Angel, so he gets a little bonus rule, maybe he gets +1 to hit when he hasn't moved, and things like that, and it could become very kind of detailed and very interesting. It could be a White Dwarf team as well. It could use all existing models, but then the caveat with that is you basically have to buy Deathwatch army. because you'd buy a box of infiltrators to get your infiltrator, a box of incursors to get you one incursor, and so on and so on and so on. And then you've bought what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Assume they wouldn't put the bikes in. 12. You've bought 12 different Space Marine units. So then you buy a Watchmaster and you've got a Deathwatch army. Now, Games Workshop might think that's fine. Games Workshop likes money. The community might not think it was fine. There might be an awful lot of people on eBay going, you know, who wants to buy 19 Hellblasters because I bought them. Sorry, 9 Hellblasters because I bought the box of 10. Can't even buy the half boxes anymore. I bought the box of 10 and I made the one that I wanted, you know, give him his Dark Angel shoulder pads. Do you want to buy 9 Hellblasters? But that kind of meta economic issue aside, it could be a cool kill team. Maybe they do a plastic box, and that makes 40k Deathwatch players happy because they can go and buy a Fortis kill team box and get different stuff rather than having to buy those boxes and make 5 Fortis kill teams. I don't really know how Deathwatch players currently do it in 40k. If you play Deathwatch in 40k, can you leave me a comment to let me know whether you've just got boxes and boxes and boxes of Primaris Marines in your house that you wanted 1 or 2 models of to make your couple of kill team squads for your army? I don't know. So that's another option. I have got a third option though. Okay, who's got a Warhammer TV subscription? Because in Warhammer TV they've put out this animation Angels of Death. It's pretty good. It focuses around Blood Angels on a mission, and at the start of Angels of Death you got these guys that go down to the planet's surface, and it's very like a game of Kill Team. You know, they go down to the planet's surface and they're fighting against the Genestealer cults. And actually, also on Warhammer Plus, they did a Kill Team narrative game based on this scene. But as far as I can tell, they didn't use any kind of special rules for these guys. But yeah, they've got like this weird little elite team. So they've got the heavy bolter guy whose special power is having a heavy bolter. They've got like this guy who's a trainee tech priest. So here's heavy bolter guy. Sorry, there's his heavy bolter. Okay, that's his thing. This guy's like a trainee tech priest, so he's got like the little opal there with cogs around it, and you can see some cog there and stuff. And he's got kind of the older armor with the rivets on. He's not a tech priest. There is a tech priest in the show up on the ship doing stuff. He's not a tech priest, but he's like a I'll be a tech priest one day kind of tech expert. I think he does an Auspex scan at some point, right? And then you've got the sergeant, but the sergeant's like a candidate for the apothecarian, so he's got like the little apothecary logo on his hat there. I don't actually recall him doing any apothecary stuff because mainly he shoots and stabs people. I think at some point he goes, oh, we need to recover some gene seed, or it's a shame that we couldn't recover that guy's gene seed. But he is, you know, a member of he's like a trainee apothecary almost. You've got the other sergeant that's like a Deathwatch guy, right? That's like one of the main characters, and he's been in the Deathwatch, so he's got like knowledge of aliens. And then you've got this fellow who has some kind of bolter sniper rifle thing. Is that technically a stalker bolter? Is that what that's called? And it's got a sight, and it's got the extended little barrel here, and you can't see it in this picture, but he's actually a beaky marine as well, which is pretty cool. And you got those 5 guys, and yeah, no, there's other characters. There's like a chaplain, and there's a full-fledged tech marine, and then later they find a captain who's in Terminator armor. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm just talking about the notion that the fluff now, at least in theory, supports a 5-man veteran squad where each squad is a character. It's not a thing that exists in 40k. It would end up with 40k rules. That's the bit that makes me wary. I don't know how they'd square it. They'd just be like, veteran squad, crusade veterans. It would have a data sheet. It would probably not end up being very good in 40k. It would be a kill team first thing if they did it this way. It would have to be a brand new plastic kit, so you had little bits in to represent your different things. I don't think they'd limit it necessarily to just these 5 things, because they'd want to give the people some options. They could invent other stuff. Certainly you could have another heavy weapon guy or another specialist rather than a sniper, like a plasma guy, right? But the basic concept of being able to have a trainee, like a medic and a trainee tech guy and a Deathwatch veteran. I think that's cool. It really feels very kill team. These are firstborn Marines, okay? These are not Primaris Marines. I don't know if Games Workshop would just do this concept and then say, well, we're doing this concept, but they're Primaris Marines because we don't really want to make new firstborn Marines, or whether they would do it and explicitly try and tie it into Warhammer TV and make them firstborn. I don't know. But that's the third option. Kind of elite power armor guys, which I think that would be the fan favourite, right? If you love Space Marines, and you've loved Space Marines for years, I think these are the guys that you want, because you paint them up as your chapter, then they're your guys, and they're running around, and they've all got bespoke things. But it would be super difficult to balance. I kind of think this about this and the Deathwatch team. You'd have to make each one pretty good to make your elite team of 5 feel powerful enough to make up for the lack of activations. I think those are my 3 options. So what I'd like to know is, which of those would you like to see, and which do you think is most likely? I think that they are distinct questions, right? So which one makes you happy, and which one do you think, actually looking at it, Games Workshop will actually do? Signs now point to Chaos Space Marines versus Corsairs. So very briefly, I don't want to steal his scoop, but Kirioth put out like a 1-minute video that someone had sent him something about the URL to a link on Facebook, which refers to the Nakman box as the Corsair plus CSM kill team box. So I had thought it was going to be cultists or something. Maybe it is going to be Chaos Space Marines. I'm not going to do a whole video on the concept, because again, I feel like I was stealing Kirioth's kind of scoop there, but how would we feel about Chaos Space Marines if it was 5 Chaos Space Marines or 6 Chaos Space Marines, or just the standard Chaos Space Marine box and an upgrade sprue? And what if the pattern now is we actually get every box is going to have 1 totally brand new team and 1 team with an upgrade sprue? No one's really speculated that, even though that's exactly what happened to Pathfinders. I guess because people don't want that to happen. They want Pathfinders just to be this random thing. But what if every box... I mean, the Chaos Space Marine kit is pretty new, so I don't think it'd be the worst thing, but they could do it that way. No. But my point is, I guess we see that. If they do that, maybe we'll then see how an elite team looks, because maybe we'll have a team of 5 or 6 Chaos Space Marines that's actually a bespoke team with a full suite of rules, and be able to see how they kind of slot into the meta, and that will give us some clues as to where we're going to go with Imperial Space Marines. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like. If you want to see more of them, please subscribe. If you want to go and buy an entire Deathwatch army for some reason, go and do it from Element Games and save yourself 15%, and I'll then get also a little bit back. That would be great. Yeah, thanks everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you very much. Cheerio.